Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And sometimes a person or an athlete becomes synonymous with their hairstyle. I mean, think of the NFL. Troy Polamalu always had that extremely long set of hair. In the NBA, of course, Allen Iverson, Latrell Sprewell became synonymous with their cornrows. We had a guy like Ben Wallace, who sometimes had his hair braided, but also had that fro that, you just expect to always see them with it. And if there's a change, it takes you aback. Well, a current NBA player who's had quite the career has decided to undergo a hair change. They were drafted back in 2011. Now, let's take a look. Now, you probably know who this is because A, you either seen the picture already, or B, you see the title of my video or the thumbnail. But if you did not see any of that, I mean, would you be able to tell that this is two-time Finals MVP, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, Kawhi Leonard? Yes, Kawhi Leonard, 12 years deep into his NBA career, and really 13 because he missed the season due to injury, has finally changed his braided hair. As you see, no more braids for Kawhi Leonard. Now, if I didn't know this had occurred, and you showed me a picture as someone who's watched a ton of NBA and seen a ton of Kawhi Leonard, I'm not sure I would have been able to guess that this is Kawhi Leonard right here. 32 years old, and he's actually going to turn 33 on June 29th. But definitely a huge change from what we've seen in his career. I mean, you could go back to the 2011 NBA draft. His braids weren't quite as basic as they've been recently. But yes, he's wearing an Indiana Pacers draft hat. This was the 2011 NBA draft, RIP David Stern. He was traded to the Spurs for George Hill. Then we take a look, him with the Spurs, his patented braids. Same as the Raptors, same with the Clippers. Basically, the same exact hairstyle for the entirety of his NBA career. But again, this is what he looks like now. Again, I don't know who I'd say he looks like. If you told me this was an NBA player, take a guess as to who he is. Yeah, I really don't know who I'd guess, but I'm not sure Kawhi Leonard would even be my first 10 guesses. Just crazy how a simple haircut can change your look that much. Two guys it reminds me of. One, Carmelo Anthony, of course, had his patented braids all the way back with Syracuse. Then through much of his Denver Nuggets tenure, it was towards the end of his Nuggets tenure where he did cut his hair, but did regain the braids later on, I believe, with Portland. And then to go into the hip-hop world, Ludacris, man, he always had his hair in cornrows, but I believe it was the single Runaway Love, where it was like his first song where he didn't have the braids. I could be wrong. Maybe it was before that, but I remember Runaway Love with Mary J. Blige, that being the first instance of not seeing him with those braids. But what are your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard's new look? I know it's not super basketball related, but again, just don't be shocked if you see him like that. I know this season, Cole Anthony decided to cut off the braids, and he looked like a completely changed man. I'm a Knicks fan. We know Julius Randle had either braids or kind of like a crazy hairstyle through much of his career. And then he finally cut them off and, had a short haircut. A lot of guys are synonymously bald. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, even though he did have hair at the beginning of his career at the Magic. But then you see a guy like Carlos Boozer, who was bald much of his career, and then all of a sudden he has hair with the bowls that looked like spray painted on. Like, okay, whatever. But yes, Kawhi Leonard finally looking different than he has for much of his NBA career. Again, I really don't think I would have guessed that it was him without knowing that it actually was him. But anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.